While the British Parliament stands divided over whether to strike at Syria, Washington claims there is a moral reason to attack. But as RT's Marina Portnaya reports, the use of chemical weapons was of no concern in the wars that the U.S. waged in the past. Be advised, you may find some of the images in this report disturbing.
Wagging its finger of moral authority, the U.S. began laying the groundwork for Syrian intervention on Monday.
Let me be clear. The indiscriminate slaughter of civilians, the killing of women and children and innocent bystanders by chemical weapons is a moral obscenity.
The obscenity of chemical weapons is something U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry, a Vietnam veteran, is very familiar with. 5 decades ago, America used Agent Orange during the Vietnam War, reportedly spraying more than 20 million gallons of the chemical weapon and other herbicides over parts of southern Vietnam and along the borders of neighboring Laos and Cambodia.
It had the side effect of being terribly genotoxic, and it caused lots of birth defects and terrible effects of a genetic nature in people who were exposed to it.
The herbicides were reportedly contaminated with dioxin, a deadly compound that remains toxic for decades and causes birth defects, cancer, and other illnesses. The Vietnam Red Cross estimates that Agent Orange has affected 3 million people spanning 3 generations, including at least 150,000 children born with severe birth defects since the war ended in 1975.
The U.S. often, in its foreign policy particularly, is quick to blame others for things that it itself does. And this is known around the world as the double standard of the United States, the moral and political hypocrisy of Washington.
In Iraq, America's chemical weapons legacy will be remembered for generations to come. Since the 2003 invasion, experts say the number of Iraqi children born with birth defects has skyrocketed. Some babies born without eyes, others without limbs. In Fallujah, researchers can't provide statistics saying there's too many cases to report. Scientists link the epidemic to citizens' exposure to white phosphorus and depleted uranium, toxic weapons reportedly used by U.S. soldiers who invaded the country.
All of the genetic damage effects that we see in Iraq, in my opinion, were caused by uranium weapons. Depleted uranium weapons and also undepleted uranium weapons of a new type. And these are really terrible weapons. These are weapons which have absolutely destroyed the genetic integrity of the population of Iraq.
Depleted uranium is a radioactive element that engineers say increases the penetration capacity of shells. It's believed to have a shelf life of some 4 billion years and is otherwise known as the silent murderer that never stops killing.
There is a clear reason that the world has banned entirely the use of chemical weapons. There is a reason the international community has set a clear standard and why many countries have taken major steps to eradicate these weapons.
While Washington continues lecturing Damascus, a team of UN investigators is in Syria trying to verify if chemical weapons were used. If so, what kind? In the meantime, if the U.S. does launch a unilateral military strike against Syria without UN approval, then the country policing the world will be in clear violation of international law. Reporting from New York, Marina Portnaya, RT.